Injury bug has really casted a dark cloud to start the season. Dom and I got a bunch of must-add players to fill the void on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Matthew Ane, here with my co-host, Dominic Martino. And if you're watching on YouTube, please click the bell below. It'll subscribe you to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And if you're watching on Apple or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star rating and a great review. And that'll really go a long way with helping out the podcast. And if you want a little bit more from this podcast, please join us on Subtext. In the description below, we'll give you the links and you right to it. You join, you get a whole bunch of awesome perks that you don't get in this 30-minute podcast, like waiver wire rankings, to ask us directly, direct questions, and a whole bunch more there. So please check us out on there. You won't regret it. I promise. You'll win your league. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code FIRSTPITCH for $20 off your first purchase. And guys, we got a good one today. We got a whole bunch of names, even though Dom and I switched it up today, where I bring in the intro. Dommy's tummy hurts and has had a rough weekend with the bowl. And sorry to blow up your spot.
But it's all right. It's all right.
But we got a bunch of good names, and we also want to apologize for not being consistent with the schedule. But starting Monday, we're going to go back. You're still going to get 5 episodes this week, but it's just probably the 5th episode is going to come out on Saturday. So just look out for that. But without further ado, Dom, why don't you lead us off for once?
Yeah, you know what? This is a fun spot here to get the first name. As if you're a regular listener of ours, Matt usually leads off here. But you know what? We got me batting first today. But let's talk about somebody that I really love. I like Michael Busch. Michael Busch is a great ad. He plays first and third on Yahoo. He's only 18% owned. And you know what? Former pretty high-end prospect has gotten off to, a hot start here for the Cubs. Just needed a little bit of, change of scenery. Came over, in the Dodgers deal. Dodgers didn't really get too much from Michael Busch, surprisingly, but 4 runs, a homer, 5 RBIs, 296 batting average for Michael Busch. Really, really like the upside here. Once again, if you're not familiar with the name, Michael Busch was a really highly touted prospect coming up through the Dodger system. He's been batting 6th for the Cubs, and the Cubs have been pretty good so far to start the year. They were pretty good last year. I don't see any, reason they won't be good. I think the RBIs are going to be good. Michael Busch has, a pretty solid amount of power. Back in 2022 in the minors, he had 32 home runs with 108 RBIs and a 274 batting average. So I think the batting average is definitely going to help you. I think the power is going to help you. I think the RBIs are going to help you. And first and third eligibility is pretty nice right now with, a lot of guys going down with injuries, especially at third, like Josh Young. Matt, another third baseman went down too, but I'm losing it right now. But a lot of big bats have gone down recently. So no reason to, skimp out on a guy like Michael Busch, who has the prospect pedigree and is on a good team and he's hitting right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Michael Busch is somebody that the Dodgers really didn't want to trade away anyway. Like, he was a prospect that they wanted to find room. They could just never do it because they'd much rather pay like a Max Muncy or somebody to play third base that has the veteran presence and the experience versus taking a shot on Busch and losing out on that experience when they're pretty much just in a win now mode with the amount of money they like to spend. Evil Empire. I don't like them. But anyway, Busch just was never able to just get that opportunity. So like, it was a positive move, and I liked it when he got over, and I think it's a great landing spot. And Busch is going to be somebody that I think is going to be able to contribute all season. So get him while it's hot, and add now, because I don't really need to do a full in depth because Dom covered a lot of it. But also to listen to Chris Towers, how he talks about Busch, and on the CBS podcast and what he has to say about Busch. There's a lot of upside. But anyway, let's move on here. Let's talk about Jarred Kelenic from the Atlanta Braves. So he's not having the sexiest start to the season,
Are you kidding me? He's been on fire.
Well, no, he's been hitting, but it
Yeah,
hasn't.
it's a good start for a guy like him.
But there's just not a lot of counting stats to go with it, right? But he's batting 579 right now on the year, and I like that through a week of baseball. But the counting stats haven't come in yet, right? He has 3 ribbies, which is pretty nice. He has 3 runs, but no bombs yet. Only got he doesn't even have a stolen base, but the walk to strikeout isn't bad either. So Kelnick still has that level where we're going to start seeing counting stats come in. It's just he's also batting towards the end of the lineup, but I like it a lot where he's going to have that run up side because he's batting 9 in a lot of in a lot of spots for most of the games, pretty much. So he's going to be really get on base, and then he's going to have Acuna, Albies, and Olsen going right after him. So Kelnick is going to benefit in that. He's not going to be a high ribby guy, but he's going to be a high run guy. I think he probably could, if he manages to somehow actually perform this year and play a full season, probably have you about 18 home runs with 90 to 100 runs, and probably bat about 275. So Kelnick, I think you should add now, and just get it over with, because he's going to be very going to be very what's the word I'm looking for? Very productive for you, essentially. I'm trying to get his ownership percentage up, but
I did have
39%.
Yeah,
So
and that's underowned.
Yeah, by far. I think based off of how he performed in spring, now doing it here, there's a serious path for him to be successful this year, and I think he's already starting off on the right foot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all you got to see from him, and the rest will come, because that's the thing that's always been the question with Kelnick, is that can he do it in the big leagues? He's always been the best player at AAA, but every time he's gotten called up, he's never really put it all together. Just so to see, the young Kelnick, so far so good. You mentioned the strikeout ratio looks nice. The batting average is obviously, through the roof right now. It won't stay there. But I think the power and speed is legit. It will click. There's so many mentors for him in that Braves lineup. You can just go down the list, from Olsen to Acuna to Albies to all these guys that have been doing it in the bigs for a long time. So to go from a team in Seattle, where there weren't really a lot of guys that were all-star mentors, he goes over here to Atlanta, and at 24 years old, I think Kelnick is really going to put it together. I think this could be the breakout season. Last year I said 2020 for him. I don't think 2020 is out of the cards for Kelnick this year. I really love what I've seen so far. I'm going to try and sneak one more in here before the break. Another young and upcoming, I think, potential superstar, Jackson Merrill, for the San Diego Padres. The kid made the opening day roster out of a spring training. Originally was a middle infielder, but now is out there playing outfield. Looks fantastic so far. At 21 years old, the young Jackson Merrill has played 12 games so far, 34 at-bats, 8 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 2 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks to 7 strikeouts. I love that. And he's hitting .324. The whole thing I don't understand is how Merrill is still so lowly owned here. Right now, Jackson Merrill is still only owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues. I know a lot of outfielders have gone down. Eloy's gone down. Shortstop is a tough position. He's also eligible at shortstop. So multi-eligibility here for the young Jackson Merrill. We really need to get on top of this one. And this kid is really, going to have a big season, in my opinion. Has the prospect pedigree, really rose through the system very, very fast. Jackson Merrill, got to add him now.
Yeah, I like Merrill a lot. There's a whole nother level that really doesn't even show in his minor league stats. I think there's a power level that is truly there. He hit 15 through 466 at bats, but I think there's another level to that, because his average exit velocity is about 92. His max EV is decent. It's pretty average, which means he could, when I say average, it's average amongst guys that usually hit anywhere from 25 to 30 home runs a year. He gets really good contact. He loves to hit the ball, and he doesn't really strike out as much. Jackson Merrill actually has, a lot of tangibles that I like in a prospect in his first year. I'm not expecting him to go out and hit 25, 30, but I think 2020 is definitely in the realm of possibility. And you know what? There might even be a world where he just decides to exceed my expectations, just because, a prospect like him can always, give you a surprise. But all right, before we move on and, we talk about Alex Kirilloff, Detmers, and a whole bunch of other pitchers that you probably need to replace the Strider injury, we do have a quick ad break for you, and you're not going to want to miss out, because there are a bunch of great supporters.
And guys, we're talking about Gametime again. Gametime is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. Gametime has amazing features like last minute deals, save up to 60% off buying last minute sports, concert, and comedy theater, and etc. Flash deals save you even more with exclusive in app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Zone deals save you even more when you choose a section and let Gametime choose the seats. All-in pricing, toggling this feature shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat views, get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guarantee or the Gametime app will credit you 110% off of the difference. Gametime ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. For a limited time, all users can get $20 off any MLB purchase of $150 or more in the Gametime app with the code FIRSTPITCH. Terms apply. That's code FIRSTPITCH for $20 off from March 25th to April 14th only. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets and the lowest prices always guaranteed. And guys, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch over to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for your everyday to bring you the biggest sports stories without all of that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you the can't-miss analysis, opinion, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And again, guys, the one that's the most important to Matt and I, we're once again introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on the Subtext platform, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. As the season unfolds, rely on us for dynamic content. Get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up notifications, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy baseball league by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext, where your path to victories begins. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to a new level. Woo! Matt, that is a lot as always. Thank you. I appreciate the applause. But let's just keep pushing here, brother. Who do we got up next? A lot of great names to get to today. You know, all these injuries.
Yeah. We got Alex Kirilloff. Alex Kirilloff, 18% owned. Honestly, kind of mashing it right now. So yeah, he isn't hitting a whole bunch of homers, but right now it looks like way he's hitting the ball, that might come real soon. So he's got so far 26 at bats, 4 runs, 2 doubles, 3 triples, 2 ribs. He's walked 2 times to 3 strikeouts, batting 385 on the season, an OPS of 1126. Like, all the peripherals are looking real nice. I like him a lot. He has power, funny enough. Even last year in his short stint from coming back from injury last year, through 281 at bats, he had 11 home runs. So, like, I think there's a strong possibility the dude, lights up the world and has a power. I'm not going to say this kid's going to be one of the better players in baseball, but there's a world where he could contribute to your team. Kirilloff was a nice prospect too. It's not like he's some schlub that we're just talking about that's coming out of left field. Like, Alex Kirilloff actually does, have a little bit of a prospect pedigree, and I like his upside. I've always liked him. He's a guilty pleasure for me, and he does do a lot of good things. And the 3 triples right now are really indicative of him just, really hitting the ball really hard, along with the doubles. Like, to start this season off the way you are, Alex Kirilloff, you might be one of the sneakier pickups right now. Add him now while the everybody's still kind of cooling off on him.
Yeah, I added Kirilloff in a couple of deeper leagues that I'm in. Not that the Twins are like a great team or anything. They're not a horrible team, but Kirilloff's been hitting second and third for that team, which I really, really love right now. He has first and outfield eligibility on Yahoo. But Matt, really strong breakdown there on him, and really hitting second and third in this lineup. The runs, RBIs should be really well. And I think the batting average and the home runs are going to be decent too. The home runs might only be like 20, 22-ish. But, if he does that with, good counting stats and a plus batting average, I don't see why Kirilloff couldn't hit 280 plus. He has the track record for it. So at 18% owned, that needs to be like 50% owned like as soon as possible, especially in those 5 outfielder leagues. Like, what are we doing? Alex Kirilloff is, off to a really hot start. We need to add him. Let's move on to our last name, Jose Caballero. I believe I said that correctly, man. I kind of feel like you right now with the pronunciations here. Yeah, I think I got it right. Caballero, yeah, Jose Caballero. Infielder for the Tampa Bay Rays, 27 years old. Another guy that has a little bit of prospect pedigree, nothing crazy, but has made a little bit noise down in the minors. Mainly known for his stealing ability. Had a big 33 steal season back in 2019, and that was in only 69 games as well. And then he also stole 15 in 2022, and that's in only 33 games. So kind of really shows you there the capability. Has never really hit for much power. So, that's not a part of his profile. I'm not super familiar with Caballero, but, while he's out there hitting right now, somebody that we should definitely at least look at, his way on a Rays team that is, pretty solid. Right now, Caballero 16% owned. He is eligible at second and short on Yahoo. I know second base is an absolute mess right now. Trying to find somebody, worthy of throwing out there, especially in deeper leagues, has been tough. So Caballero is somebody that I'm definitely at least willing to look his way right now.
Beautiful take. I actually don't need to say anything. But let's get into more pressing things, in terms of names that are actually going to help you with all the pitching injuries that have gone down this weekend. Spencer Strider. We're just gonna keep moving on. Every time I say his name, I get really depressed.
Me
We're talking
too.
Reid Detmers here. Hopefully, I can brighten it up. The meter's running on him, and Detmers has performed so far. He's had what so far? 2 starts, 11 innings pitched. He has not given up a home run yet, which I like. He has 19 strikeouts to back that up with a ERA of 164, pitching a FIP right now, which is field and independent pitching, of a 109, which is really nice, and a sub 1 whip. Everything about what he's doing right now is looking strong. Last year, he started off strong, but then kind of crashed and burned. But I feel like, hey, maybe this year he figures it out and kind of keeps it going for a little bit longer. And then every year from here on out, maybe then he'll make it to the end of the season. If I get a half a season out of Detmers, I'll be happy. But right now, with just the uncertainties of pitching with, Gavin Williams, Brandon Wu, Strider, of course,
Yuri Perez went
yeah,
down.
Gary
Yeah.
Perez. Like, there's so many guys that have just gotten hurt. Like,
Bieber. I don't know if
yeah,
we said Shane Bieber's name yet, but
we didn't say
Bieber.
Bieber either. Like, with all these injuries, like, we got to like start going really down to the deep and just start seeing, okay, what works this week, and just go. And hopefully, you don't have so many of these guys on a single team, because you were counting your money before the season even ended. But yeah, Detmers I feel is a must add for now. We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, we had to throw Detmers in here. He's up to 56% owned on Yahoo, but he's somebody that we had to mention because if he's out there, it is a kind of pause the podcast moment and go pick him up because 24 years old. Matt and I could have just been a year too early because Matt and I were calling it last year. The whole routine was the meter's running. And if you heard Matt say it a couple seconds ago, the meter's running. It's hot right now. And I love the strikeouts. I love, the walks are a little bit high, but you know what? The contact hasn't been blowing him away, even with a 08 whip so far. It could be the breakout we've been waiting for. The talent is absolutely there. Kid has fantastic stuff. Only 24, but Matt, great take on Detmers. As much as I want to continue to talk about him, great breakdown. I'm going to keep things moving here. Let's move on to our Yankees. We got somebody on the show today. Let's talk about Luis Gil. And once again, if you're only listening and not watching, Gil is spelled Gil if you are going to look him up. Right now, Luis Gil is raw. He's so raw. I know he's older at 26, but the talent is so raw. He only has thrown, under 5 innings in both of his starts. I think one was 4.2, one was like 4.1, something like that. But the strikeouts have been there in 9 innings, 14 strikeouts, but the walks have been there too at 7. But the whip still 1-1-1-1. I really like that with a 3 ERA through his first starts for Gil. The Yankees are going to have some starting pitching to rely on with Cole down. Nestor hasn't been great so far. We need Gil. We need Gil to be everything for us. And right now, not really too highly owned Luis Heel on Yahoo. At the moment, Luis Heel is 30% rostered on Yahoo. Looks like I think his next start is going to be against Cleveland. Cleveland's been, actually pretty good so far at 7-2. So I might roll him out there. Just it's tough right now with starting pitching. Just another way you can look, especially if you need those strikeouts. Luis Heel, somebody I like.
Yeah, no, it's great. And before I go on and talk about him, I do have an ad break for you, and these guys are awesome. So just hang tight. And we're talking Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. You pick more or less than 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and watch the winnings roll in. Exploring my skills on Prize Picks this season adds an extra layer of excitement to daily fantasy sports. With just a few taps, you can transform $10 into $1,000 easily. PrizePicks is incredibly user-friendly. You can make your selection and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. And as the host of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, I got some awesome picks for you. Offer Jesus Luzardo to go out there next time and have 1.5 walks. Offer Zach Geloff to go out there and have higher than 0.5 ribs. And offer Julio Rodriguez to have higher than 0.5 runs in his next game. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks. And now I can give my little take on Heel here. I like him. Dom mentioned his age at age 26. I like the breakout at 26 for pitchers. I will not really stand by it when it comes for hitters, but pitching is a mature man's game. It's much harder to do. There's a whole lot more that goes into your position outside of fielding and hitting the ball. Yes, it's difficult, but it's not as difficult as being a pitcher, in my opinion. So to say that, hey, he's a little bit older, but no, if anything, we're about to see this kid go off in his prime. I don't know what to truly expect, but he is raw, and we're going to see a lot of mistakes before he gets things right. He may be a very valuable player in the second half. We might drop him today, add him today, drop him tomorrow, and then, man, we have him for the rest of the season. We shall see. Very, very volatile, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Path, I guess. But yeah, we're going to move on. We're going to talk Max Myers. Max Myers has performed over his last 2 starts. Pitched against the Yanks and he pitched against the Angels. Looked good. Didn't get a lot of strikeouts in those. He went 11 innings between the two, 7 strikeouts. Had an ERA sub 3 of 2.45 and had a whip of, 0.72. Great. But the one big thing I have with Max Myers' performance right now is he has a 509 whip. And so, like, if he had an average defense behind him, that would be his ERA. So maybe he got a little lucky this week, especially going up against the Yankees today when you're listening. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen, but this is actually the perfect day it's coming out for you guys, right? Because we record the night before. Essentially, if Myers goes out and performs against the Yankees, go out and add him, because then I might believe this a little bit more, what he's actually doing, and I won't buy into the fit. So Myers has a lot of pedigree, is one of our favorite prospects coming up a couple of years ago. When he got the TJ, it was just really ugly. I feel like TJ is like an STD. So when he got the TJ, he just wasn't able to, I can't stop. All right. Wasn't able to just, obviously pitch and, live up to that hype. But his first outing looked good for that short sample. So Max Meyer, I think, is going to build up to it. And if he can just maintain this path and handle the Yankees at his first real test, then Max Myers is going to be somebody I'm excited about. I love early because I can predict more. As we get more into the league, more into the season, I can't have these what if questions. It's kind of, we know who they are. So right now it's just a hope and a prayer, and we're all looking for a long-term solution. So he might be one of our better names for the long-term solution.
Yeah, man, I might be just a little bit more excited than you, but Max Myers just been somebody I've always been really excited about, and Matt and I, Matt had talked about how excited we have been, and we actually watched his first start together, Matt, back, and it was against the Phillies. We watched it back at Matt's house, all those. I think it's like 2 years ago at this point now, or yeah, about 2 years ago at this point. And Meyer has all the pedigree in the world. He's only, the whole thing is 46% owned on Yahoo right now. somebody like this, I think he's going to stick in the rotation. I think the strikeouts are coming on the way in 2021. Meyer in the minors had 111 innings pitched, 130 strikeouts. 61 innings pitched in 2022 in the minors, had 69 strikeouts. I really think Max Meyer is somebody that can take it to the next level. He was like a top 3 pitching prospect a couple years ago. And Matt, I know you talked about the FIP, but there's other ERA indicators, right? Like, even if you look at xERA, which is another ERA indicator, it's a 3.53. So Max Meyer is just somebody that I think the raw talent is just really going to take over. He might not be a huge K guy, might be around that K per 9, but somebody that really just knows how to pitch. There's a reason he was a top prospect at 46% owned. I think I said that for me should be like 80, 90, especially with all the injuries right now. Max Meyer, another pause the podcast, see if he's available, pick him up. And Miami's a great place to pitch it as well. But let's keep things pushing here. Let's talk about our next guy. Another guy I really like. I like Chase Silseth. Chase Silseth hasn't been suppressing the runs as much as I would like to across his first 2 starts, but there is a lot of things I do like across them. Across his first 2 starts, 8 innings, 12 strikeouts. It is a 6.75 ERA and a 1.50 WHIP. But another kid, raw talent. First taste of the bigs last year. Didn't really throw too many innings. Getting the full time rotation spot this year to start off the year. The void of confidence speaks well. The kid's only 24 years old at the moment. I really think he can take the league by storm, be a big strikeout guy. Maybe the whip, isn't always going to be fantastic, but, maybe mid-3s ERA with like a 1.25 whip with some big strikeout totals. Have him near the end of your rotation. And guess what? Silseth is only 7% owned right now. I really think this is a guy we need to take a look at. And I think we might look back at the end of the year and be like, damn, Chase Silseth actually had a pretty good year.
Yeah, no, I like Silseth. We keep talking him up for a reason. He has all the potential in the world, and it's funny enough too. His brother's pretty good too, just a little younger. They both are great pitching prospects, and now that he's up, I'm excited to see what his outcome's going to look like. But we're cost for time here, so I want to get this next guy in. It's kind of one of my other favorite names out of this list, and it's Sean Manaea. Funny enough, Sean Manaea, kind of like you're like, oh, why are we talking about this dude? But he's made some changes in the offseason to be successful, and also pitching in, Met Stadium at Citi Field is a bonus, because pitching there is like almost pitching in Miami. It's a good pitching park, and he's shown out so far. He went through 11 innings. He's had 14 strikeouts. He has a 0.82 ERA with a whip of 0.72. Looks great in those regards. The only issue I have with him is he really hasn't gone out and been tested. He pitched Detroit, and then he pitched against the Reds, which Reds are no pushovers, and he pitched in Great American Hitter Park too. So like that, I guess, was a test of his skills in that regards, and like maybe the change that he made in the offseason is actually coming to fruition and doing its thing. I like it a lot. And the other thing that I like so far is he hasn't given up a home run. He's only given up 1 run through all this. So Manaea is looking like he might be, at least a short-term solution, because I don't know how long he actually lasts, but I like Manaea a lot, and he has a long track record of being a successful starting pitcher in the league, at least.
Yeah, Manaea is a funny one, man. It's just that, Matt, I think you hit the nail on the head with, I don't know how long this lasts. Last time I was like excited about Manaea, it was like, probably like coming off that 2018 season when he gave us all hope again. It was a good year for him. But ever since then, it's been, not very good for Manaea. I think you kind of just ride the wave, juice the orange for now. Manaea is currently 36% owned on Yahoo. So, you know what? Go out there, pick him up. Probably is him and Heel are probably put pretty close for me towards the bottom, but not somebody I'm going out of my way to pick up. If you want our exact rankings, you got to join us on Subtext for that, though. But that's really it for today. Matt, you got anything else to add before we wrap up?
Nah, just keep coming on back here. We'll keep rolling it out. I think with all these pitching injuries, we're gonna have to start doing stream candidates for the weekend to kind of get you the thing for a little pitch and ditch action. It's the only way I think pitching is going to be, somewhat competitive this year. So stick around for that at the end of the week. But yeah, Dom, let's get out of here, man.
Yeah, guys, that's all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, shout out to our everydayers and new listeners making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. But guys, until tomorrow, see ya.
Peace.